Hello everyone. We are venturing into the intriguing realm of our fears today. Fear, a universal emotion, is as old as life itself. It's a common thread that unites us, regardless of who we are, where we're from, or what language we speak. Fear doesn't discriminate. It's experienced by the young and old, the rich and poor, the confident and timid. Fear comes in many forms, each as unique as the individual who experiences it. Some of us grapple with common fears, like the fear of failure, rejection, the unknown, or even death. These fears can loom large, casting long shadows over our lives, dictating our actions and decisions. Then there are less common fears, the phobias, the unusual fears that might seem odd to some, but are very real to those who live with them. The fear of spiders, heights, or even clowns. The fear of something as mundane as buttons, or as peculiar as the color yellow. These fears, though they might seem strange to some, are just as valid and impactful. Fear has an incredible influence on our behavior and decision-making. It can hold us back, keep us rooted in place, prevent us from reaching our full potential. But on the flip side, fear can also be a catalyst for growth. It can push us out of our comfort zones, force us to confront our weaknesses, and ultimately become stronger, more resilient individuals. Overcoming our fears, however, is no easy feat. It requires courage, determination, and a steadfast commitment to personal growth. But the rewards? They're immeasurable. Just think about the stories of individuals who've conquered their fears, who've turned their lives around, and have gone on to achieve great things. Their journeys are a testament to the power of facing and overcoming fear. So be ready as we dive deeper into understanding the nature of our fears. It's an exploration that promises to be both enlightening and empowering. And remember, every fear faced is a step towards personal growth. So let's step into the unknown together. It's time to face our fears. To start off, what exactly is fear? Well, fear is a basic, intense emotion that we all experience. It's a survival mechanism that has been hardwired into our brains to protect us from potential dangers. It can be a reaction to something immediate, or the anticipation of a future threat. It's an emotional response to a perceived or real threat. Now let's talk about some of the most common fears. Fear of failure, for instance, can hold us back from reaching our full potential. It's the apprehension that our efforts won't yield success, that we'll fall short of our goals or disappoint others. Then there's the fear of rejection, a deep-seated concern about not being accepted, being judged, or not fitting in. This fear often stems from our innate desire to belong, to be a part of a group or community. The fear of the unknown is another pervasive fear. It's the uneasy feeling we get when we're uncertain about what's coming next. It's the fear of stepping into unfamiliar territory, of not knowing what lies ahead. And of course, there's the ultimate fear, the fear of death. This is a fear that is both universal and uniquely personal. It's the fear of the end, the fear of non-existence, the fear of what, if anything, comes after. But fears aren't just limited to these common ones. There are also less common fears, known as specific phobias. These are intense, irrational fears of specific things or situations, like spiders, heights, or flying. These fears might seem irrational to some, but to those who have them, they are very real and can significantly impact their lives. These fears, common or uncommon, have a profound impact on our lives. Whether they're holding us back or pushing us forward, they're a part of who we are. They shape our decisions, our behaviors, and ultimately, our lives. But remember, fear isn't inherently bad. It's a natural response, and it can even be a catalyst for growth and development. But more on that in the next scene. Now, you might be wondering, how does fear affect us? Well, fear, in all its forms, has a profound influence on our decision-making processes and behaviors. It's like the unseen puppeteer behind the curtains of our lives, subtly pulling the strings. Think about it this way. When you're standing on the edge of a cliff, fear is that voice in your head telling you to step back. It's a primal instinct, designed to keep us safe. But sometimes, fear extends beyond the physical realm, creeping into the corners of our minds, influencing our choices, our actions, and even our perceptions of reality. Ever turned down an opportunity because you were afraid of failing? Or avoided a social event because you were scared of being rejected? These are perfect examples of how fear can dictate our decisions. It can hold us back from seizing opportunities, stepping out of our comfort zones, and experiencing new things. Fear, in this sense, becomes a barrier to our personal growth and development. However, it's not all doom and gloom. Fear can also be a powerful motivator. It can push us to prepare thoroughly for a presentation to avoid failure, or encourage us to work on our social skills to overcome the fear of rejection. When managed properly, fear can fuel our personal growth, prompting us to confront and overcome the challenges that scare us. Remember, fear is a double-edged sword. On one side, it can hinder our progress, keeping us stuck in a cycle of avoidance and missed opportunities. On the other side, it can propel us forward, lighting a fire under our ambitions and driving us to achieve more than we ever thought possible. But fear doesn't have to control us. We can learn to overcome it. It's about understanding our fears, acknowledging their influence, and then taking conscious steps to manage and overcome them. And in the next scene, we'll discuss some practical strategies to do just that. Stay tuned. So, how can we conquer these fears? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Let's dive into some strategies that can help us overcome our fears. Firstly, we have exposure therapy. This method involves gradually and repeatedly exposing yourself to the object or situation that you fear in a safe and controlled environment. Imagine being afraid of heights. You might start by simply imagining standing on a high place, then perhaps stepping onto the first rung of a ladder, then a little higher, and so on. Over time, your fear begins to lose its power over you. Next up, we have cognitive restructuring. This technique helps you to change the negative thought patterns that fuel your fear. You learn to challenge and alter fear-inducing thoughts, replacing them with more balanced and realistic ones. It's like rewiring your brain to process fear differently. Then there's mindfulness. This practice involves being fully present in the moment, accepting it without judgment. It's about observing your fear, acknowledging it, but not letting it control you. It's like sitting on the riverbank, watching your fear float by, instead of being swept away by it. Now, these strategies are not overnight fixes. They require time, patience, and practice, but they can make a significant difference. Just ask Michael. He was petrified of public speaking. His heart would race, his palms would sweat, he'd feel nauseous. But he decided to face his fear. He joined a local public speaking club, started practicing mindfulness, and began challenging his negative thoughts. It was hard, and it took time. But eventually, Michael found himself speaking in front of a crowd of hundreds, and guess what? He was okay. More than okay, he was fantastic. Remember, overcoming fear is a journey, not a destination. It's about making progress, bit by bit, day by day. And with every step you take, you're not just moving away from fear, you're moving towards courage, towards freedom, towards a better version of yourself. So let's take that first step together. Remember, overcoming fear is a journey, not a destination. In conclusion, fear is a universal experience that can significantly shape our lives. It is an emotion that is as complex as it is common, and it's something we've all grappled with at one time or another. Throughout our exploration, we've delved into the multifaceted nature of fear, discussing its forms, its impacts, and the strategies for overcoming it. We've seen how fear can manifest in different ways, from the common fears of failure, rejection, the unknown, and death, to the less common fears that take the form of specific phobias. These fears, though varied, share a common thread. They have the power to influence our decisions and behaviors, sometimes to a degree that can be crippling. But it's crucial to remember that fear isn't always a foe. In fact, it can be a powerful catalyst for personal growth and development. It's when we face our fears, when we challenge them head-on, that we truly begin to understand ourselves and our potential. We've shared a success story that underscores this point, showing that fear can be conquered, and that doing so can lead to remarkable personal triumphs. Overcoming fear isn't about eliminating it entirely, but about learning how to manage it, how to channel it into something productive. And the strategies we've discussed, from cognitive restructuring to exposure therapy, are tools that can help us do just that. In the grand scheme of things, fear is a part of life. It's a part of being human, but it doesn't have to define us. By understanding it, by facing it and overcoming it, we can turn fear into a force for growth rather than a barrier to it. Thank you for joining us in this journey of understanding. We invite you to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content.